Today is going to be a great day. I am Nikki G, your host. Welcome to the Lone Doctrine, the food for thought exploration station and your place in making today better than yesterday. We keep it short, simple, actionable, and practical. Every month here at the Lone Doctrine, we choose a topic. Last month, we explored change. Change in life can sometimes be awesome, but then there are also times where change is really difficult. If you agree or you're saying yes, then I invite you to go back into the archives and see all the actionable and practical ways you can get through change when it's just plain old hard. We are here to support you through all of life's ups and downs. But this month, we wanted to weave into what can affect a lot of what we go through in life, and that is self-worth, or sometimes what people call confidence. What is self-worth? It's one of those concepts that can have a lot of different outlooks, but I asked around and also explored the interwebs and found some interesting definitions. Here are some of those definitions of self-worth. Confidence in one's own worth or abilities, self-respect. A feeling that you are a good person who deserves to be treated with respect. How you act towards what you value, including yourself. Then how you feel about yourself compared to others. The sense of one's own value or worth as a person. Self-worth is the feeling that you have good qualities and have achieved good things. One could say that self-worth is all of these. But most people, all people, have their own outlook and definition, and that is awesome. A big reason Lone is in the Lone Doctrine is because we understand that life is not simply this or that. It's a place full of individualism, and that's the beauty in being human, not robots. So, today, let's explore self-worth even more to find out how you would define self-worth. One thing to be mindful of is what you're using to define, or in other words, what type of ruler you're using to measure your self-worth. A lot of times we might be using someone else's ruler, or we might have had life throw us too many curveballs that, in lack of a better metaphor, our ruler is a bit off. We live in a very quote-unquote unreal world. What I mean by that is, in the world of social media, entertainment, technology, we're expected to do the impossible. Now, I'm all for reaching for the impossible when it comes to your aspirations, breakthroughs, new inventions that help humankind, medical advances. You get the point. But we live in a world, especially on social media, where we're comparing our behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel. Self-worth is how you value yourself, not what others think of you or what you have or haven't accomplished. It comes from the inside out. When finding what self-worth might mean to you, here are some things to remind yourself of that do not define self-worth. Number 1, your to-do list. Although accomplishing tasks is a good thing, I also make to-do lists. It may feel good, feels good to me, to make that check mark. You can't let how many check marks or things crossed off define your worth. I found a quote by Morin that says just that. While it's normal to feel proud of your accomplishments, basing your entire self-worth on your achievement is like building a house on an unsteady foundation. You'll need to experience constant success to feel good about yourself, and that means you'll likely avoid doing things where you could fail. Number 2, your job. Your job, whether you love it or hate it, does not define you, period. Number 3, your social media following. So you don't have 1 million followers. You barely have any likes. Even if you do have 1 million followers, that number does not define you. You, as a human, are much too complex to be defined by a screen. Number 4, your appearance. Looking and being your best is good, but define that for yourself. Just because you don't look like the magazines or influencers on social media, which is riddled with Photoshop and unrealistic perfection, does not mean you're not beautiful. You are beautiful when you let the true self shine. And number 5, others. Comparing is at an all-time high, and I will admit I've fallen into this trap as well. But we have to define our self-worth for ourselves. And the truth is we don't really know the whole story. You might think that highlight reel that we see on social media is all you've ever wanted, but there behind the scenes might be the last thing you'd ever want. This is a big factor in our measurement of self-worth. I see this more and more often than not. We compare, or sometimes we try to find our self-worth in someone else. I'd like to explore this a little bit deeper with Zen habits. Don't tie your self-worth on others' actions. Allowing ourselves to get sucked into the emotions of others is one thing, but one of the more difficult problems is allowing the actions of other people to affect how we judge ourselves. A good example, your boyfriend dumps you. So you wonder what's wrong with yourself. Why doesn't he love you? You opened yourself up to him. You shared your innermost self. You gave all your love to him and he rejected you. This must mean he found you unworthy, right? Actually, no. His actions have nothing to do with you, really. Let me emphasize that because it's really important. The actions of other people have very little to do with you. If your boyfriend rejects you, or your boss gets mad at you, or your friend is a little distant today, that has very little to do with you and your value as a person, and everything to do with what's going on with them. They might be having a bad day, a bad week, are caught up in some story going on in their heads, are afraid of commitment or being rejected themselves, fear failing in relationship, and so on and so on. There are a million possible reasons someone might do something, and they are not a judgment on you. They are more of a statement of what's going on with the other person. Let's take a few more examples. Your friend isn't as attentive as you'd like him or her to be. Does that mean he doesn't care about you or doesn't want you to be happy? No. It's possible she's just tired or too caught up in things that happened today to be attentive. Maybe he's bothered by something you did, but that really is more about his issue of dealing with your actions than it is about you as a person. Maybe you can help him deal with that issue or somehow ease his pain. How about this? Your coworker gets irritated with you and is rude. Does that mean you aren't a good person? No. It means that person has a short temper and isn't good at dealing with other people, or again, might be having a bad day. Instead of taking it personally, see how you can either give that person space to cool down or help the person deal with their issues. Here's another common example. Someone doesn't get as excited about your idea as you'd hoped. This happens to me all the time. Does their rejection of your idea or proposal mean that you aren't good? No. It's possible your idea isn't great, but that doesn't mean you aren't good or that you don't have good ideas. Maybe this is just not the right idea right now. But it's also likely that it is a good idea, but that person doesn't appreciate it, or their interests don't align with the idea right now. Or maybe they have other priorities and can't deal with the idea. Instead, thank them and move on to someone else who might be interested. Those are just a few examples, but you can see how often we take other people's actions personally, even when we have very little to do with us. And we can often interpret their actions to be a judgment on us. And so we feel bad about ourselves when really it has nothing to do with us. So how do we deal with other people's actions instead? Let's go back and take a look. So, someone rejects you, gets mad at you, is indifferent with you, is rude to you. What do you do? There are a lot of options, of course, but here's a really productive and constructive suggestion. Don't take it personally. Their actions don't have anything to do with you. So if you find yourself taking it as personal or a judgment to your worth, be aware of that and then let it go. Tell yourself this has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Especially when people are being really, really rude, especially with the world of the internet, how people are just commenting without any accountability. It is more speaking to their character than yours. Here's something else you can do. Reaffirm your value. If you feel yourself doubting your value because of their actions, recognize that your value isn't determined by their actions or judgments. It's determined by you. So reaffirm that you believe you have great value. Appreciate the things about yourself that are good and that have value. Even if no one else appreciates you, be the one person you can see those good things and be grateful for them. That's all you really need. And try to be compassionate. If that person is mad or rude or irritated or tired or afraid, they are in pain. They might be lashing out at you or withdrawing from you because of that pain, whether physically or mentally. See if you can help relieve the pain. You've already checked in with yourself and realized you are good to go. Now go help the other person. If they don't want your help, that's okay too. Your worth isn't determined by whether someone wants to use your help. It's the fact that you tried to help that's the statement of your value. You can't control whether other people receive your help or are grateful for it, but you can at least make the attempt. These are just 3 ideas, by the way. They don't just help with your self-worth, they help with your relationships with other people. Often we react to others as if they personally injured us, and the other person doesn't understand why. And so they in turn take our reaction personally, and then they get mad at her, and then you get mad at her, and it's this vicious back and forth. If instead we don't take their actions personally, and instead seek to help them, they are more likely to be grateful than mad or hurt. And so we're better friends, better coworkers, better partners, parents, if we take things less personally and are more compassionate. This takes practice, of course, like all skills. It's important to recognize what's going on so that you can practice these skills whenever possible. As we explore more into self-worth, I'd like to plant a seed in shining light on how often we measure our self-worth, but for the most part, we aren't looking at how we're measuring. So this week, as you feel those feelings of feeling not good enough or worried or hurt or even confused, take a beat and ask yourself about the how. Maybe it's time to recalibrate your ruler, because when you know who you are and you're on the right path to better, your true self will start to experience peace. Part of our mission here at the Lone Doctrine is to feed your mind right, but we also know the importance of feeding your body right. Blue Apron is a fresh ingredient delivery service that supports chefs of all levels cook incredible and healthy meals at home. Blue Apron takes care of the meal planning, even the shopping, so all you have to do is cook and enjoy. Our food system, the way in which food is grown and distributed, is complicated, and making good choices for yourself and your family can be difficult. Blue Apron is changing that by partnering with the farmers to raise the highest quality ingredients at a better value and by investing in the things that matter most: our environment, our communities, and your best self. There's this great quote by James Clear: "Your body adapts to what you eat. Your mind adapts to what you consume. What you feed yourself today is who you become tomorrow." As a Lone Doctrine listener, you have a chance to get $30 off your first order. Just visit the resource section at lonedoctrine.com and feed yourself the good stuff today to make tomorrow even better. We appreciate all of your support in the many, many ways you can find at lonedoctrine.com on our resource page. We hope in supporting us, we can continue to support you. Thank you for tuning in, and if you liked this episode and know of someone else that may also benefit from our food for thought exploration, we'd love if you'd share this episode. It would mean the world to us if you could help us get this message and our cause out to as many people as we can, because together we are better. Or if we could have a few seconds of your time, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, which in turn helps us show up on the search engine so others in need can find us. I am forever grateful. And until next time, keep fighting the good fight.
It's a